Well, hey guys! Today we're going to be talking about delicious mangoes. I was getting a ride home from work and we saw this Asian market and they had huge amounts of produce. We decided to stop, check it out, and there were flats of mangoes from anywhere from $4.99 to $10, and we got, I think, more than 20 mangoes for about $15, and they are just amazing. They were all ripe and delicious. So I have my champagne mangoes and I'm going to be eating those. I'm going to be sharing with you some of the benefits. Mangoes are really good for you. And I'm going to be showing you how I cut up mangoes. And this is probably something that's simple for some. I'm treating it like you've never seen a mango before. Tutorial. So I will also share with you my mango plant that I planted and got to grow. I've already posted about this on homesteading, but I know some of you wanted to know a little bit more. So here we go. This is my mango. This is about a month old, and I planted him. I'll show you at the end of the video what I did. But I got this to grow, and I'm hoping to just put this in soil pretty soon and have it continue to grow. I don't know if it will produce. I don't know what the deal is. I don't think it will do that well in this climate. But it's kind of an experimentation or experiment, and you end up with this beautiful plant. So what's not to love about getting things to grow and just testing stuff out? So I've got him wrapped up pretty nicely, not exposed to the sunlight. And let's get started. How to cut your mango, why you should be eating them, and as we know, they come from nice places with very large amounts of sun and hot temperatures, so something a little bit more tropical than this place. But if you'd like to try your hand at growing your own mango, why not? Go for it. I say get yourself a nice mature ripe mango from the store. See if you can't get your own to grow. So today we're going to be cutting up some mangoes. I have here some nice, delicious smelling mangoes. That's always a good sign when they smell nice and ripe. So there are two ways that I usually like to eat my mangoes. I will slice them skinny way, so you make two cuts here, and this will avoid the core, the center, the seed of the mango. So I'm going to cut once and then flip it over and cut the other side. So now there is still fruit all along this, and there's all this fruit. And what you can do is either make slices like this and enjoy your mango similar to a watermelon or any other fruit that has a rind or peel. And you're just going to be slicing off this outer part, and then you can have beautiful slices like that. And then you can just discard these into your compost pile. The other way that's popular is making cuts like this in a grid, and then you're able to just pop these like that, so you get your mangoes in cubes, and then you can go along and cut like this and take out your mangoes. Still going to taste the same. Either way is good. It's just whatever you prefer, whatever presentation you prefer, what's more convenient. And then, to be honest, sometimes if I'm in the car and I can't wait to eat the mango that I've just gotten, I will go ahead and use my hands and just peel my mango. And you lose a little bit of extra fruit this way, what gets stuck on here. But if you're in a pinch and you don't mind getting sticky, this is also an acceptable way to eat your mango. And then from here, I just take a cue from my ancestors and I just dig in this whole thing. I just go ahead and bite off hunks, and I'll do that right now because it looks really good. And that's how to eat a mango. And this part usually, just so you don't waste any, I go ahead and cut along here. Here's the seed. So it's this big. It runs pretty much the length of the mango itself. This is a small one. This one, I'm guessing, would not be viable for a seed starting project. For some reason, maybe these were picked a little bit earlier. They ripened off the tree. So anyway, this is the seed. What I would do if this were a nice, ripe, plump one, the way you can tell if it's ready is it would be a lot more, it would have more width than this. This one is very thin. It makes me think that the seed is not mature on the inside. But what I would do is I would wash it off so it's less slippery. And then I would just take my knife at the tip, and I'm just cutting not near the center of the seed. I don't want to actually harm the seed, but I'm going to need the bigger knife for this. I would just cut the tip. So I'm going to get rid of that and then open my second mango. I prefer champagne mangoes, but these ones are also good, especially when they're perfectly ripe. A lot of people try fruit at the wrong stage. Maybe they were kids or they got a bad one from the store and they just assume that that entire fruit is not good. It's false. Every fruit is good if you get it at the right time, organically grown, doesn't have pesticide residue if you're eating it the right way. So just don't judge a fruit. If you think that there's a fruit out there that you don't like, I would recommend trying it again. You may be surprised. So the difference is, let me see, this one tastes a little more complex. It's sweet, but it has that really mango-y flavor, whereas the champagne mango, I don't know how to describe it. These ones are usually a little more tart, a little more playful. They're both definitely sweet, definitely delicious, but there are a few little subtle differences. I invite you to try them both from your local store. Try them, see which one's your favorite. But I know this one's more common. This is the one that I grew up eating, and then recently I've made the switch to champagne mangoes. It's absolutely delicious. The first seed we looked at was too small. Lucky for us, there's a second one and it's much thicker. Just a point of reference, this is the first one we saw, and this is the second. As you can see, this one is much more narrow. This one has the width. This is a seed that I would not waste my time getting open because it is kind of tricky. This one, however, I've already started. What you do is you cut, and I've found that there's the top and then there's the base. The base is where the stem was. This is where the tree was hanging it, like this. So this is where the little nub is on the fruit itself, and what you do is you take the nub side and you cut. I already sliced it. And then maybe a second time, let's move that out of the way. So you're just going to come in here, be very careful of your fingers. This stuff is slippery, but you want to just go ahead and continue to hack away at the bottom. And then maybe get in there with a more precise, smaller knife. And you're just going to be cutting like this. And then I'll try my hand at prying this open. Yep, not too bad. So you just go along. And there's your seed. Oh, and I have yet to see this. This one looks as if it's already starting to grow. Wow, so this guy was definitely ripe and ready to move. Make stuff happen. So this is paper, this is extra, you don't need that. This is your seed. Here's one that I cut out earlier. So this is the champagne mango seed, little baby guy, and this is the one that I just took out from the other mango, the big red and green one that you saw earlier. So this is quite incredible. I love this process. It's amazing. These seeds don't need anything. They don't need cold stratification or like the fermentation that tomatoes supposedly like. They don't need to dry out at all. You just take these, rinse them off a little bit, and then I'll be taking the paper towel, wrapping it around just so it doesn't see the harmful sunlight, sticking them both into a Ziploc bag, leaving them somewhere warm to germinate, and after about a week and a half you can check on them. The seeds will start to turn a green color, and hopefully you'll get these little nubs to expand and shoot upwards. So there you go. Okay. You don't want it to be too wet, just kind of like a wrung out damp sponge, not dripping wet. Stick that into your ghetto greenhouse. Make sure you seal it up all the way so that the moisture stays in. And I'm just going to set this in a windowsill somewhere warm, maybe above the fridge, wherever you have space for it. And you just want to check on it. Maybe every 2 or 3 days you're going to want to change the water on this just by running it under the faucet, then making it a little bit less damp, sticking it back where it was. And you might see progress in as little as a week. If you're not seeing progress by 2 or 3 weeks, I would say that your seed is not going to germinate. Here is my mango seed starting project. What I did was I pried open that shell that we saw. And then from there, I had this seed. So I went ahead and took the seed out of the pod, discarded that, and then you just wrap this, and it was more brown. I wrapped it in a paper towel like this. Of course, this wasn't there. I wrapped it up and I wet it. I put it under the faucet and let this become dampened. Not dripping wet, but just like a wrung out wet sponge, and that will imitate what the mango goes through in order to germinate out in the wild. So I made like a nice damp soil for it, wrapped it up, put it into a Ziploc bag, and closed the Ziploc bag, and then I put that entire thing in the windowsill, and I left it for maybe, I don't know, about a week before I started checking on it. And then eventually it developed this split here, and I saw that it was starting to poke out a little guy, and it came up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and it slowly grew, and then it got these little beautiful leaves. And so from here I'm just letting it develop a little bit more before I plant it into dirt. And yeah, I think I'm going to plant it this way because it's obviously growing up this way. But for now, he just sits in a jar in the window where it's nice and warm. You obviously know mangoes come from like a nice, humid, warm climate. This was going to prefer a greenhouse if it's in North America, anywhere north of maybe Mexico, but they grow best places like Hawaii, Thailand, Mexico, Chile, places where they get a lot of sun and warmth. So this was more of an experiment. I don't expect it to do well in the Bay Area, but of course, it's nice to see what you can get going. Maybe I'll ship it to someone who's in Florida, who knows. But I aspire to have a greenhouse at some point where I can grow things like this. So this is my mango. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And check out facebook.com/homesteady. You can see the link below. Check it out for more stuff, and look forward to having you.